Hey, what's the name of that game you wanted to download? Yeah, go ahead and bring it up. Okay, what is this? K-pop demon? Netflix? Is this AI generated? Yeah, if it was AI, it would be more original. But what is this? Why does it say sign in to purchase? What is this? Hmm? Nothing to say? Okay, first Roblox and now this. You're going on a gaming detox. Let's play this. You'll love it. It's more than a Fortnite skin. It's November 2001 and Steve Ballmer is CEO of Microsoft.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer!
I watch this every night before I go to bed. Though they had experience publishing PC video games, entering into the console hardware space was brand new territory for Microsoft. In spite of all the roadblocks in the way, the Xbox was able to release and establish itself quickly that year, almost entirely off the existence of one game: Halo. As a kid at the time, Halo was a big deal. Everyone was playing or talking about it, and those of us that didn't own an Xbox would still play the game in split screen when visiting friends' houses. Now, Halo wasn't my first exposure to FPS, as I had played plenty of Doom, Unreal, Quake, and Half-Life on PC before, but damn if Halo didn't feel fundamentally different. Halo has since had a massive impact on the gaming landscape, spawning copycats and influencing trends that are still part of the FPS genre to this day. And as their first foray into first-person shooters on video game consoles, Bungie made some modest accommodations to console hardware that may seem innocuous at first glance, but when taken as a whole, really helped the FPS medicine go down for a casual audience. This would include dual analog control, well-tuned auto-aim and bullet magnetism, regenerating health, and a 2-weapon limit. Bungie really nailed a great formula right out of the gate. These changes to the FPS formula of the time made the game easier to pick up for the layman and also helped the game feel unique in comparison to FPS games on PC. The first Halo is really built around the Xbox gamepad. Being used to the keyboard and mouse shooters of the 90s, you want to know the first thing I thought when I saw Halo? And the second thing I thought was that the movement speed was agonizingly, painfully, ridiculously fucking slow, with a jump that was right out of Apollo 11. But these choices were deliberate. The slower movement combined with the slow, floaty jump makes it much easier to be precise when navigating a 3D environment, and dual-stick controls let players move and look simultaneously with less reliance on auto-aim in comparison to other console shooters like Medal of Honor or GoldenEye. And then you have weapons like the bullet hose, which requires little in the way of aiming in the first place. A lot of people today may be used to the FPS control scheme that Halo pioneered, so much so that it is second nature to them, but in 2001 the average video game player definitely was not. Other console FPS like PS1's Medal of Honor had a dual-stick control scheme mostly as a novelty, as the DualShock wasn't the default controller for the PS1, and it's just not what the game was designed around. Halo made this control scheme a staple, and a big part of that was because it kept things really slow. The slower movement pace dictates firefights that have an ebb and flow. You can't dash around environments circle strafing enemies with impunity. Anytime you push out of cover or rush an enemy down, it is a commitment that you can't quickly reverse. And you couple this with a limit on the amount of weapons you can carry. While having only 2 weapon slots simplifies things, making inventory management a non-issue, it also forces you to consider what weapons will be most effective for your current situation, scrounging replacements across the environment if necessary. And if you do need to pause in between engagements, your health will refill automatically as long as you're not actively taking damage, removing the hunt for health packs entirely. All this made the game accessible to a casual audience in a way that contemporary FPS games on PC at the time weren't, many of which the Xbox was more than capable of running. Now, all of these design decisions. Who let that cobra in here, for fuck's sake? I could try that again a little more slowly. Now, all of these design decisions. All of these design decisions would mean nothing if you didn't have an enemy that was fun to shoot, and Halo has that covered. The Covenant are a masterclass in game design. From visuals, audio, AI, and animation, they're insanely fun to fight. The slow character movement we talked about before acts in concert with player health and enemy accuracy. Encounters with enemy elites in particular are a dance, where you're each whittling away at each other's shields before going in for the kill. They'll juke and weave to evade small arms fire or grenades, and will seek cover to recharge their shields or will pursue you if you retreat. The enemy AI in Halo is very reactive in ways that even modern games have trouble replicating. The enemy callouts, besides being memorable and funny, also serve to give the player information that grunts have noticed you and are pushing your position, or that an enemy elite is preparing to charge. If Halo were a strict corridor shooter... Wait your turn, you. If Halo were a strict corridor shooter, the Covenant would still be an engaging enemy. However, Halo's expansive outdoor environments and vehicles add a whole new dimension to its gameplay and allows the enemy AI to shine. You can engage enemies from multiple different directions, and both Covenant and Marine AI will man turrets and nearby vehicles to engage each other. It's sometimes nice to just sit back and watch the enemy AI factions engage each other and see how fights play out. Halo's gameplay sandbox truly feels like a sandbox at times. And then you encounter the Flood. So there are 4 key strategies when it comes to fighting the Flood. You ready? Number 1, walk backwards and shoot. Number 2, walk backwards and shoot. Number 3, ignore them and run towards the checkpoint. 4, walk backwards and shoot. 5, walk backwards and... I've heard people defend the Flood by saying it's a change of pace from the first half of the game, and yeah, it's a change from a fun pace to a boring pace. I'm glad we agree. Fuck, I forgot they could spawn with rocket launchers. Also, another thing with the Flood, there's this glitch where they will insta-kill you if they fire their shotgun right as they're in their dying animation. Sometimes. There's some RNG to it, but it happens often enough that people get confused and go online to ask about it, only to be gaslit by people that don't know any better. I've seen versions of this post on places like GameFAQs or Reddit for nearly 2 decades now. No, the Flood are not supposed to be able to one-shot you when you're at full health like that. You've been telling us for years that it's fine, that it's normal, but it's not fine. It's not normal, it's never been fine or normal. This is just one of the many crimes that internet forums need to answer for. Not only are the Flood boring in general, they're also a buggy mess. Halo remains a classic for a reason, and that reason is the Covenant. They're doing the heavy lifting here. So Halo 1 released to universal acclaim, and a few years later, Bungie released the inevitable sequel. So, Halo 2 had a bit of a rough development cycle. Once it did come out, though, it had a huge impact. It was the first Xbox game to feature Xbox Live, and it really influenced console multiplayer and made it what it is today. Or so I hear. I was never able to play it online at the time as I was still on dial-up. In fact, my third world country only installed broadband in my neighborhood like last week, so yeah. Split-screen multiplayer was still a lot of fun, though. Spent many nights with friends playing co-op campaign, deathmatch, and so on, so I've got a lot of nostalgia for this game, too. So why is the campaign so shit? Levels are a lot more linear, and even outdoor levels feel more constrained than the ones in the first game. Enemies have extremely accurate firing patterns, and player health and shields are much lower compared to the first game. You dip your toe out of cover for even a second and your shields melt. There's an offhand comment on the first level from an NPC that your new armor was just shipped in from Korea, and I'm wondering if this was some meta commentary from the developers about Korean engineering.
Your new suit's a Mark 6, just came up from Songnam this morning. Try and take it easy until you get used to the upgrades.
Or just an acknowledgement that Master Chief is much weaker this time around. Playing Heroic feels like Legendary, and Legendary feels like Chinese water torture. Halo 2 fanboys will say get good, but quit puffing your chest. I've beaten this game multiple times on Legendary. It's not shit because it's hard, it's shit because it's boring. It forces you to play the game in a very conservative and slow way, and not slow like the movement I was referring to that all these games have, but slow in the sense that you die extremely easily. It really incentivizes you to not take any risks at all. You have to stick to cover 100% of the time, and it just slows the game down way too much. The single-player campaign is just not balanced well. They may have run out of time during development. The game itself was balanced around multiplayer, and it shows. And also, the Flood are back, and they have even more health this time. But Halo 2 is still a fun game, even if the single-player campaign feels janky. I got sidetracked with the campaign's difficulty, but Halo 2 brings a lot of cool stuff to the Halo sandbox, like dual-wielding weapons and vehicle boarding. The campaign, while feeling more linear, does have lots of interesting set pieces. And the Arbiter is a cool character. I remember hearing a bunch of bitching and moaning at the time from people that only wanted to play as Master Chief, but come on. If you weren't on board as soon as you heard Keith David's voice, you and me just can't be friends.
Even on my knees, I do not belong in their presence.
And I didn't mention story when discussing the first game, but the first Halo had a very simple but effective story with some tantalizing lore sprinkled over it for flavor. The second game brings a lot more depth to the setting, and the story takes an interesting turn, though it ends on a cliffhanger. Bungie was really going through some things at the time. It's too bad they couldn't finish the game the way they wanted, but there are people out there like Ruby of Blue working on a single-player overhaul mod that, in addition to retuning the game balance, will also be restoring some cut content to the campaign. It's amazing what you can do with mods these days. They're putting a lot of work into it, so go ahead and check his channel out and give him a click. He does good work. So that was Halo 2. Both Halo games on the original Xbox hold up extremely well to this day and are well worth playing. For any members of Generation Alpha watching, though, allow me to word this in a way you would understand. Halo has Okia Aura. Noob? No. Okay. No, wait, hold on. Kiat is slang term to express strong excitement, surprise. No, wait, hold on. Mewing? Why? Hold on. Wait, I think I saw something out here.
And Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice, like...
I'm gonna go get the papers,
Hey, any of this making sense to you? Anything? You're a big help. Okay, let's try this. Halo, straight bussin', hits different. Got that aura. No cap. FR. If you've seen my self-respect, please call this number. So that was Halo 2. Both Halo games on the original Xbox hold up extremely well to this day and are well worth playing. The next game, Halo 3, I didn't play that much when I was a teenager, as I didn't own a 360 at the time, and when I did eventually get a 360, it wasn't long for this world anyway. So the campaign, I played it once in co-op at my friend's house, and that's it. I think it's well worth another look, but... Oh shit, I'm late for my dialysis appointment. I'll be right back. Nathan, you behave yourself.